Good morning. Hello folks. Today I'm going to share with you a step-by-step how to draw a haunted, scary house in using 2-point linear perspective, similar to this example I've done in the past with my students. So far in class you have done a 1-point linear perspective, simple shapes. You've also done some common letters of the alphabet, and you've done your name in 1-point linear perspective. And so now we're stepping it up into 2-point linear perspective, which means you have 2 vanishing points. In this example, there's a vanishing point here, where from this corner of the house, everything on this side lines up and goes to this vanishing point. All the lines, the tops and bottoms of the window and the siding. And then on this side, there's a vanishing point here. And so on this side of the corner, the lines go to this vanishing point, okay? So here's another example of a scary haunted house. This one's not really done in 2-point linear perspective, but another example of a scary haunted house. Now in this video, I'm going to help you draw the house in 2-point linear perspective, but I want you to know that even though I'm going to call it the haunted house video, that you can use this video to help you draw a house in 2-point linear perspective and use it for whatever season that I'm going to use this video in. So after we get done with this basic house, you can decorate it, and because right now it's the haunted season, it's October, we are going to add at the end, I'm going to tell you to turn it into a haunted house, but if this was in December, I'm going to say, okay, now I want you to turn it into a Christmas village house by adding, wreaths, Christmas lights, Christmas trees, holly. For Halloween, maybe you can add bats, a moon in a full moon, or stars, a witch on a broomstick, scary monsters. But just remember, this is a public school, and I do not want blood and guts and gore. I want things to be appropriate for our school, okay? All right, so just to get started with this, I was inspired first by looking online, and I looked up clip art and coloring sheets of different haunted houses, and these were the ones that I found that most inspired me to help draw this house, okay? So I kind of looked off of these and didn't find one that I really thought would be perfect for it and to help me inspire to get this far, okay? And the first time I drew it, kind of sketched it out to kind of get the ideas and the proportions and stuff right. So here's where we're going to get started. For the supplies for this video, you're going to need a piece of white paper, a good pencil, a good eraser, and your ruler, okay? So I want to talk about your ruler. And please excuse my little note on my hand here. I want to talk about your ruler. Now, we've talked about this in class, but I want to make sure that you understand the marks on your ruler, because we will be using measurements on here. If you give it just a second, it will clear up. Okay. So in class, I talked about that this was the 0 mark, even though it doesn't have 0, not necessarily from the edge of your ruler. That this is 0, okay? That the long mark next to the number is your inch mark, so this is 1 inch, okay? And then you've got 3 long lines here. So this is 0, this is 1/4, this is 1/2 or 2/4, this is 3/4. Okay, 3/4 or 3/4 inch. Now in between there, okay, so this is 1/4, this is 1/8, all right, and then these are 1/16. Now in this video, I do talk about using 3/4 or 1/4 or 1/2. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew where those are on the ruler. So one more time, 0, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4 or 3/4, and an inch. So anytime that I'm talking about those, just so you know where those are on this wooden ruler. Okay, this is the inch side, the one that goes from 1 to 12, and then the other side is the centimeter side. All right, so now that we've got that straightened, and zoom back out to your paper. All right, so the first thing I want you to do is we are going to put a horizon line. This piece of paper is a 12 by 9 inch piece of paper, if you got it from me. So what I would like for you to do is put the horizon halfway down your page. So half of 9 would be 4.5. So I'm going to turn my paper this way. First of all, I'm going to get this extra stuff out of the way. Make sure I have a nice clean surface to work from. I'm going to turn my paper this way. I'm going to make sure that I'm measuring from the actual 0 line, not the edge of my ruler. And I'm going to find 4 1/2. 4 1/2. And I'm going to make a little mark here. Move my ruler up a little bit. Again, making sure that I'm measuring from 0, not the end of my ruler. 4 1/2. And 4 1/2. I'm going to measure again down here towards the end. 4 1/2. I'm going to turn my ruler sideways. And I'm going to connect all those little dashes or little dots that I made. Double and triple checking I'm connected. And I'm going to make a light line with my pencil. You're going to want to draw lightly because in this project I've noticed that I'm going to be using a lot of my eraser up to erase a lot of stuff. I'm going to be drawing a lot of guidelines and then erasing them out. Okay, so this is halfway up, 4 1/2 inches. Alright, so I'm going to need 2 vanishing points. So right on the edges, I'm going to make 2 vanishing points. One right here, and I like to put like a little X through mine sometimes, just to help me see them a little better. And then one on this side. They don't need to be massive. Alright, I've got 2 vanishing points. Okay, and about, I have 3 1/4 inches from the right. This would be my right hand side. 3 1/4 inches. So that is this first one right here. From the right hand side, I'm going to make my corner. So I'm going to put a little mark right here on my horizon. Alright, and I said that I used about 4 3/4 inches tall and 1 3/4 inches above it and 3 inches below it. So what I'm going to do is go right here, 3 inches below the horizon. So I'm going to go 3 inches down and 1 3/4 inch above it. And I'm a little bit off, so I need to fix that. Alright. I'm going to straighten up my line. And I like to do this by taking my ruler, and because I have a nice straight edge right here against the edge of my paper, and I'm going to take my ruler here and I'm going to straighten this up. Alright, it's a little bit off, but that's okay. Alright, so I originally said that this was supposed to be about 4 3/4 inches long. I'm just double checking my measurements here. Yep, 4 3/4 inch long. Again, make sure you're checking from your 0. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly, but later on as we're measuring and we're drawing, if it's not close to this, you're going to notice that some of your other measurements or your other drawings may look off or be off slightly and then wonder, why is this doing that? Well, it's because if you didn't start out the same, it's going to be different, okay? Alright, so now I'm going to go from that, and I'm checking my notes. This is what you see me doing as I look over here to the side. Alright, so now I'm going to go from the bottom to the right vanishing point about 2 inches long, okay? To make this bottom, what we're doing is making this bottom portion. We just made this corner, now we're making this bottom portion of the house. So, and I said that it was 2 inches long or so. So I'm going to use my ruler to connect this bottom corner to this vanishing point. And I said I needed it about 2 inches long. So, double, triple checking, starting right here at 0, and I'm going up to my 2 inches. And then I'm going to stop. Alright, then I'm going to come up here to the top. And I'm going to connect the top to my vanishing point. And it's going to be slightly longer than 2 inches on the top. I'm doing about 2 1/4. Well, it looks a little too long. That'll be okay. That's what an eraser's for. Alright, I'm going to use the bottom of my ruler again, nice and straight. the bottom of my paper. I'm going to line up this right here because I need a straight line right here. It goes straight up and down, but I need to use my ruler to make sure that I get a straight line. So I'm going to do this, line this up nice and straight, and then draw. Ooh, look at that. Look how much I was way over. Use my pencil and erase that nice extra. If your top line wasn't long enough, you're going to extend it, again using your ruler, and if it was too long like mine was, you're going to have to erase it. Alright? So now we have this side of our house. Okay, now we're going to work on the front piece of our house. Alright? So, excuse me. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go from the bottom left here. We're going to go from this bottom to the left vanishing point. I'm going to go ahead and this time just draw it to it. And again, I'm going to move my paper a little bit so I can see. Alright, I'm going to go right here. I'm going to lightly just go ahead and draw it all the way. And I'm going to connect the top. Kind of makes it a little, I kind of missed a part right there because of my sticker. Kind of makes like a little diamond shape or a kite shape. Try this again. And my sticker's out of the way. Alright. Now, I'm going to make this about 5 inches long, I think. So I'm going to start right here at 12. Go backwards 5 inches. 12 minus 5 is 7. So at 7, I'm going to make a little mark. Again, I'm going to use my ruler. Make sure it's lined up down here at the bottom edge of this, nice and straight. And then I'm going to straight up between these two lines and connect it. Now I can get rid of these extra guidelines. Notice I'm not erasing my horizon though. Just these two extra guidelines. So now I have this big giant box. That's the basics for our house. The basis for our house. Okay? Alright. Now, we're going to find the center of this side of our house. So to do that, we're going to make an X. We're going to connect this corner to this corner. Okay? So I'm going to use my ruler. Connect this corner to this corner. Now this is our center in perspective. It may not look like the center, it may look like it's shifted over, but this is our center in perspective. As soon as I found this center, I'm going to use my ruler. And again, if I'm going way too fast, you can always stop the video, push pause while you're drawing a step. I'm going to use my ruler, make sure that I'm lining it up with the bottom edge of my paper. And I'm going to draw my door. My door is going to be almost as tall as my horizon, just right up. It's a little too tall. My door is about 1.5 inches tall. Let's check this here. 1.5 inches tall. Look at that. Almost got it exactly right. 1.5 inches tall. So right here where it touches the ground to 1.5 inches tall, so just barely right through there. And that's going right through the middle of that X. And then my door is going to be 1 inch wide, so I'm going to take my ruler. I'm lining it up against my 0. And I'm going to put a little mark right there to show me where the 1 inch is. Take my ruler, line it up against the bottom edge. It's not tall enough. Let's see. Alright. Now, don't just take your ruler and go, oh, I'm going to make a straight line across the top there. Nope. The top of the door has to go to this vanishing point. Okay? So what I'm going to do is connect my vanishing point with that little mark I made earlier where the 1.5 was. And then I'm just going to draw. Oops, I moved it. So that's why it's always important to double and triple check here. Right there. If I extended this line, which my hand is in the way, if I extended this line and drew it, it would go all the way to the vanishing point. But I don't want to have to draw that and erase it, so I just drew it inside the door. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. I'm going to erase anything right here. If this line wasn't long enough, you need to extend it, and if it's too long, you erase it. So now I have my door. I'm going to get rid of this little extra piece right here. Alright, and I can erase this X that I had. I don't need it anymore. That helped me find my door. And you can add things like the door frame to it, doorknobs, any kind of window that you want in there. Just make sure you use your ruler for the door frame part to it. Think about, since we're doing a haunted door, think about like what kind of things would be on a haunted door. If you were doing a Christmas door, what kind of things would you put on the Christmas door for your Christmas house? Whatever season we're doing, if you're doing spring or summer, what kind of things might be on there. Alright, so there's our door. Very basic. Of course, we don't have our doorknob or our windows or anything like that into it. Alright. I'm going to leave that up to you later on to finish decorating. Right now we just need our basic stuff in there. Okay? The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to extend the top of the door to get the top of the windows. So I am going to take my ruler back, line the top of my door with my vanishing point. Excuse me, let me pull this over so you can see it. Right here, I'm lining up the top of my door with the top of my vanishing point, and I'm going to do a little bit of a line here, and I'm drawing really lightly a little bit of a line over here. This way I know that wherever I put my windows, the top of my windows are going to that vanishing point. Okay? Now you could have very wide windows if you want big windows. You could have 2 skinny windows on each side of this door. You could have one skinnier window with some shutters on here. It's kind of up to you how you do this. I'm going to put one skinny window on each one of these in here. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is about a little more than halfway down. I'm going to draw the bottom of my windows. I'm going to line up my ruler with the vanishing point on this side, because we're doing things on this side of the house. We're going to this vanishing point. And I'm not going to move my ruler when I do this window over here. These two would be the same line. Okay? Alright, now, I kind of like to pencil in where I want my windows, the thickness of them, especially since I can't see through this ruler. So I know, okay, this is about how big I want this window, this is about how big I want this window. I do want to tell you that, remember in our space video, the things that are closer to you are going to be bigger than the things that are further away from you. So this window here should be wider than this window here, okay? So I'm going to make this window just slightly wider than that window there. And now that I've kind of penciled in where I think they should be, I'm going to use my ruler, line it up with the bottom edge of my paper here so that you can see that. And I'm going to make my straight lines inside my guidelines. I'm going to go over here and do my second window. Again, I'm making sure that my ruler lines up with the bottom. There we go. And I'm going to get rid of any extra lines that I have. And darken up the top and the bottom here. Now, if I wanted 2 windows, I would have just scooted this over and did the exact same steps. If I want shutters on here, I would maybe instead of erasing that extra stuff, gone ahead and left those in there. Would I just erase and then just done some straight lines here and added the shutters in there. So I might leave that on there just so I'm thinking some shutters might be kind of cool. Okay. All right, let's go to the window over on this side. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ruler and I'm going to straight line it here with this side of the paper and with this bottom corner, because what I'm wanting to do is find the bottom corner over here, and usually windows on the first story are at the same height. Okay, so I'm going to go right here and get a straight edge right here, find that bottom corner here, straight here, find the corner, and then I'm going to make a little mark right there. And that just tells me that's about how the bottom corner is going to be. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ruler and make sure I'm lined up with the vanishing point and that little mark I just made. And I'm going to draw a line like this. Alright, it's pretty steep. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing I did earlier. I'm going to make sure that this is lined up right against the edge and right up with this corner of my window. Double, triple checking, make a little mark. Okay, and then I'm going to go right here and line that little mark up with my vanishing point. Again, we're working on this side now, because we're on this side of the corner. I'm going to do like this. Alright, now I'm going to take my ruler. First, I'm going to sketch in where I think I want my window to be, how wide I want it to be. If I want it to be really exact, what I should do is take my ruler and measure. This is about 3/4 big. This window right here is 3/4 big. So this window over here should be about 3/4 big, or close to it. And it is not, so it needs to be a little bit bigger. Okay. Now I'm going to take my ruler, line it up against the bottom of my page. And the reason why I'm not making it exactly 3/4 is because this window is going away from me. So I want this window to be a little bit smaller. So it does look like one of those space techniques. It is getting away from me. Alright, erase anything extra unless you want those there for shutter reasons. Alright, so there's our first story windows. Kind of got a basic little building going on here. Okay? Alright, let's put our second story windows in there. Second story windows are going to be pretty much the same way. You're just going to take your ruler and you're going to draw, you're going to line it up at the bottom edge of your paper. And then you're going to line it up with the sides of the windows that you drew, and you're just going to draw them straight up. And we're going to do that all the way around. Alright, we're going to leave this middle open for right now. Okay? Now, the tops and bottoms of your window should go to the vanishing point. And then, so this is going to be slightly above the horizon for the bottom of these windows right here. So I'm lining it up with the vanishing point. Because we're on the left side of the building, we're going to the left vanishing point. I'm going to do both of them at the same time without removing my ruler. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the top. Oops, I didn't draw this one long enough. So I'd line my ruler back up and do it again. There we go. And this one drew way too big. You notice I still haven't gotten rid of the horizon inside the house yet because it may come in handy later. Alright, I'm going to come over here, and again, just like before, I'm going to figure out where the bottom of my window should be. And then I'm going to come over here and figure out where the top of my other window should be. Alright. Alright, since we're on the right side of the house, we're using the right vanishing point. And I didn't draw my line big enough earlier, so I'm going back to make sure I did. Get rid of the extra. So, we're working on a 2-story house with windows. Our next stop will be the roof with the tower looking thing in the middle. Okay? This is a good place to stop this video for now. So, I will see you on part 2 of the 2-point linear perspective video. See ya. Bye guys.